Hi, Eric Gibaud, ericgibaud.com, and today I'm making a video that is a bit complicated. Yesterday, Lumix announced their new S9 camera. And honestly, I was happy to know that this camera was coming. I was really with a lot of illusion and faith in a great camera. And to be really honest to you, when I saw the specs, the camera, my first reaction was, what a piece of okay? Then my anger went away and I thought, Eric, study the camera, read everything about it, and give the most honest opinion you can. Yes, I didn't have the camera in my hand, but I know the sensor, I know most features of this camera because I'm recording right now with the Lumix S9 Mark II. I'm a Lumix client. So there are many features I know, and there are things I see on the camera that I don't need to try it to know if it fits or not. What I could do, what many people could do. So my idea is to be as honest as possible and explain what I think of the camera, what I think it could be good for what, for who, and for when, and what situation. This is the idea of this video. Analyze the specs and give you my most honest opinion without anger. Okay, so let's start. First of all, I've always loved Lumix. I've recommended many Lumix camera for many years. And actually, when the S9 Mark II came out, I bought it. I'm really happy about it. It's not perfect, like there are no perfect camera, but still, I'm really happy with it. So when the rumors appeared that there was going to be a new camera, mini camera, I would say, with the same sensor and the same idea, in my mind, I imagine a mini S9 Mark II, the same as Sony has the Alpha 7C Mark II, which is like a mini Alpha 7 Mark IV with some some things that they skipped out, but most of it, it is many features are the same and many things are the same. Okay, so I did expect to have this. Or maybe a ZV-E1, but more, I would think more about an A7C Mark II if you compare to Sony. So I was really happy about it. I was thinking, oh, great second camera or for B-roll camera. Let's have a look at that. A good idea, or backup camera. And what I really see now is Panasonic got an axe in their hand and started to cut out not just the size, but many features, many things that are useful or very often needed. So I think it's important that we analyze the positive points and the negative points, because there are some positive points. I do believe there are good things about this camera, but the image quality, for example, is the same as the S9 Mark II, so I'm happy with it. So I would be happy with this camera too for that part, okay? Depending how you use it, obviously. And second, we have to check the negative points. Why? Because it's important that people who are interested in this camera, they really see what they're buying. They really see what it is for, when to use it, how to use it, because it's important that they're really aware of these negative points, because it can be a no buy, or maybe they would prefer to pay a bit more for another camera, or or the same price for a different camera. But it's important they really are aware of what's in the camera, because I see a lot of hype and that hides many things that are not that good about this camera. So let's speak about it. I'll try to be as objective as possible and as honest as always, okay? So it has a full frame sensor. This is the same sensor as the S9 Mark II, 24.2 million pixel. This is an L mount for lenses. L mount, the L club I would call it, is Lumix, Leica, Sigma, and the latest arrived I would say is Samyang. So it's important to know that among these four brands you have 85 possible lenses, plus some third parties. Okay, so this is really massive, really interesting. Okay, There are many features on the S5 Mark II that you can find them on this S9, so I'm not going to repeat them. There are many reviews. I also have my own review here, okay? So it's better for me, I think, to speak about the main ones, okay, and the one that are missing. But what's really important is to understand who is this camera for according to Lumix. Well, the public is the content creators, which is people who create for YouTube Shorts, for Instagram stories and reels, and also for TikTok. These are the main content creators. It's important not to forget this, because that really helps to decide if this camera is okay or not. Because many people may be commenting about that is no good, but they don't see that it's not for them because they're not content creators. And some other people probably say it's really good, but they don't understand that content creators need or don't need this. Okay, so that's important. So we're going to start with the positive points. First, the size. 126 mm by 73.9 mm by 46.7. This is really a small camera. I think this is great. Not everyone wants to carry an S5 Mark II and the size it has and the weight it has everywhere, okay? So I think it's a great idea to have this mini camera. The weight, 486 grams with battery and SD card. I think this is also really good. It's okay, without lens obviously, but I think this is really okay. The sensor, great sensor. We've seen how it works on the S5 Mark II and S5 Mark II X. Great results. Good dynamic range in video and vlog up to 14 stops. Great, nothing to complain about. I'm really happy to find this sensor on this camera. If we look at the IBIS, well, actually two stabilization. One is the IBIS in the body, 5 stops, and if you have a lens that is stabilized, you get in total 6.5 stops. But don't forget that if your lens is not stabilized, you keep on 5 stops, which is not bad. But nowadays, on the market, there is better. Okay, so, but well, that's acceptable. Then they have the LUT, the LUT, and LUT, what it is? The LUT is actually like film simulation you see on Fujifilm. The idea is normally LUT has always been used for video. You actually record in vlog, so you have a flat profile, and then you put the color in post-production. With this LUT button you can actually preview directly how it would look with the LUT you have in your camera. One you can install some, or you have the one that comes by default, and you can have a look at it before recording. That's one point. And second, you can actually bake it directly in your video. So for many people, this is a big time saver. I love the idea that you have your video is directly ready. But the problem is, if you're not happy with the results, there's no way you can change anything, because it's like a JPEG, it's finished. You don't have the raw file anymore. So on the S5 Mark II, you can actually record to with the LUT on one card and the version without LUT on the other card. Here you cannot have it because you have only one SD card. Is it a problem? Depends on you. For me, I don't see it as a problem, honestly. If I'm a really color grading person, I will not use the LUT and put it in post-production. And if I'm lazy as many time, I would use the LUT directly and cross fingers, and that's it, and I will not worry, okay? So it depends on you, but it's important you know that this LUT feature is really good for some and not good at all for others, okay? Then, great thing, they have the Open Gate 6K. What is that? You actually record with the full sensor, and then after you can slice your video the way you want, like 16:9 or square or vertical or whatever you want. That's really great because with one take you can get several formats for your video. So for content creators, this is great. They could create a horizontal video for one support and then vertical for another one using just one the same shoot, the same take. So I think this is a great feature. I have on the Lumix S5 Mark II, but there are other cameras that do it. The XS20, for example, I have, the Fujifilm does it. And some more cameras, not just Fuji, other brand actually do it. But it's great to have it. Good news. If you look at the 4K, you can have cinema 4K up to 60p, so that's good. For slow motion, that's fine. You also have an electronic zoom, so I think this is really good, this electronic zoom, because you don't have to change lens if it's very often. Obviously, you prefer to have a specific lens for the focal length you need, but otherwise it multiplies and you get great results without changing lens. So that's good. One thing I really like, it's on the S5 Mark II also, is the dual ISO. As a standard, you have 100 ISO as a base and 640 ISO as a second base. It means when you're on 640, you get the same noise, the same quality as 100, so it's great. And when you go on Vlog, that is 14 stops dynamic range, which is great. 14, okay? The base is 640 and the second base is 4000. So for low light videography, this is really a great feature. I really love on the S5 Mark II, and I'm happy to see it here. Another point that is really important, this camera supports anamorphic lenses and it creates the D-squeeze directly on your screen. So for me, it's fantastic when you want to preview what you're recording with a anamorphic lens to see the D-squeeze. Really helps framing, seeing if everything is right, all this. So I'm really happy to find this feature that is also on the S5 Mark II on this camera, no doubt. These are the main features I think that come from the S5 Mark II, and I'm really happy to see them here. So that's for me the positive points. So let's look at what are for me the negative points. Obviously, they decided to cut everything in size and features, so the first thing they removed is a viewfinder. Do you always need a viewfinder? Not really. Many people, they're used to their smartphone, so they don't need a viewfinder. Others, they do have it, but they make picture watching the screen, the monitor, so it's no problem for them. But sooner or later, you realize that in some situation, the sun is directly hitting the screen, the monitor, and you do need to check with the viewfinder. So I would have expected in the corner, the same as the Sony Alpha 7C Mark II or C or whatever, in the corner, a small viewfinder, so you can check from time to time or always use it, depending on you, okay? But they removed it, and I think for me it's a problem, and also it's a big problem for me in photography because I love to use a viewfinder. But that's their decision. But honestly, I don't understand why they didn't put any viewfinder. Second, they tell you, yeah, because actually mainly people use that for video, so you don't actually need the viewfinder. Okay, it's more for video than photography then. Okay, that's fine. So I see there is a microphone connector, and that's great. But where is the headphone connector? Oh, okay, so I suppose I can connect with an adapter to the USB-C, with an adapter, connect a jack, and then I got my headphone. No, it's not possible. Honestly, if you feel this camera could be used for video, I know that many people record themselves, as I'm doing right now. I don't have the headphone here, but I've got it here in case I need it, okay? And I can check the sound. In this situation, you have just a speaker, you can listen after, and that's it. That's not a way to properly check the sound. So I can understand they don't put the connector, but then let the possibility to check via USB-C. So I don't understand it. And then they tell you, yeah, but this camera is not just for video, it's also for photography. Okay, great, okay, I'll forgive you for the viewfinder. No, so let's speak about the photography part. They didn't put any mechanical shutter. It's just electronic shutter. So, yeah, for video, but for photography, that's a big problem. I know some people will tell me, yes, but the Alpha 9 Mark III has a global shutter and no mechanical shutter. That's not the same thing, okay? How does that work? When you make a picture, it reads the sensor like this as fast as possible, and you get the picture and get all the data. If the subject is still, there's no problem. But if there is some movement, we see it in video. Actually, when we do a panning like this, you have some rolling shutter, some vertical element. They get or like this, an horizontal element. It doesn't matter. When you move, then you do get something a bit strange. It's like moved, especially with vertical. Okay. And when you make a picture, obviously, if you don't move and it's a building, no problem. If you do a panning, following your subject, you will see your subject, and the back will be like this, moved. Or if something, a train, for example, is moving like this, you will see a funny shape, it will be moved. So electronic shutter for photography is a problem with that because of the rolling shutter. But not just that. If I make indoor pictures, outdoor is no problem. It's natural light, sunlight, normally, maybe not at night, but daytime, okay? But if I am indoor, if the shutter speed is not a multiply of the electricity frequency, for example, in the US is 60 Hertz. If I make my picture on 101 over 60 of a second, that's fine. It will be synchro, so I don't see anything strange. If I would make 1 over 120, that will be fine too. But if I make any different speed, it means I will have not synchronized with the light, the flickering of the light. I will see some strange effect, like some darker bars or different colors, something really strange. This is where a mechanical shutter is really useful when you're indoor. And they removed it. They removed it. Second, you speak about photography, so you say, oh great, there is a flash socket. No, it's not a flash socket. It's an accessory holder. There is no connector, so you can remove the protection, and there you can actually place a microphone, for example, or LED light, whatever, but forget about flash photography with this camera. So are they telling me that everyone who makes pictures, they will never use any flash, and they always count on ISO, higher ISO if it's really dark, or for the fashion photography and they want to have a flash? Forget it. So no way, okay? So this camera is not for photography, obviously. That's too limited. Then let's go back to our typical user, the content creators, young one, as I say. Okay, so they like to make pictures and video anywhere, any situation. On the beach, close to the swimming pool, in the Sahara Desert, when they can afford it, all this. So very often you see them, they have their action camera or their iPhone, and in the water, as long as you don't go too deep, like a meter, that's fine, okay? This one is not weather sealed, it's not dust proof, it's not anything, there's no protection at all, not sealed. How do you explain this guy that now they cannot get pictures on the beach with windy and sand all over the place and maybe some salty water, whatever? You're going to tell them that their phone was better than this for the type of content they do. Okay, so honestly, not everyone makes a video as I do right here. I'm sitting in an office and that's fine, okay? Many of these content creators are action user. Action is not because they jump or whatever, but the situation where they are, it's any situation, okay? So that's not logical. Other point. They tell this content creator you will not have to edit, you can upload directly straight to your social networks. That's fantastic. We've created a fantastic app. This app, you just transfer your from your camera to the smartphone, and then in the app you can add some LUT if you didn't do it before, or you can do some editing and straight your upload to your social networks. Yes, but my question is, I created a 6K open gate. It takes ages to transfer to my smartphone. Don't worry, we work on Wi-Fi 5 gigahertz. Yeah, but still not enough. Don't worry, by default, we have a smaller bitrate of 50. Sorry? Yes, 50 bitrates. It means a file is a lot smaller, you transfer a lot faster to your tablet or your smartphone, and that's fine. So you're telling me, I buy a camera with a full frame sensor, great quality, probably great lens, everything is fine. And now I'm going to transfer to my smartphone on 50 bit rate, when actually most high-end smartphone record on 100 or 200 bit rate. So you're telling me I'm going to lose quality? I will have worse quality than my own smartphone just for using your camera. That's nonsense. That's nonsense. I'm buying something thinking is better than a smartphone, and when I use the app, not to wait too long, I transfer with a lower bitrate and lose the quality I paid for. That's absurd. No sense. Okay, so I would say this is for content creators, which are TikTokers, up to 5 minutes recording, I think, YouTubers, YouTuber with shorts, with reels on Instagram and stories, all that. But let's speak about a YouTuber. The guy says, okay, I'm going to create a YouTube video about 10 minutes long, okay? When you create a YouTube video 10 minutes long, normally it takes maybe twice. Unless you don't edit anything, you record straight and that's it. Normally you're going to take twice the time, or 3 times, or 5 times the time. When I record myself in 3 languages, I don't switch off the camera for maybe 2 hours. So that means that I have to change battery. This is the only moment I switch off the camera for half a second, I carry on. And the Lumix S9 My doesn't give any problem. But this camera, being so small, they didn't put any fan in there. So by itself, depending on the format you're actually recording, it will stop recording at 10 or 15 minutes. It means for me, for example, in my case, I could not record what I do. That's impossible. So people will say, yeah, but you can always switch off and switch on. No. This limit is not for a tax reason like the 30-minute limits we had a few years ago was. This is because it's overheating. It means that although you switch off, if it's overheating, you have to wait to cool down. And then you will have to switch on again and carry on recording. So that's not for YouTube anymore, unless you have 3, 4, 5 minutes video. But that's not for YouTube anymore. So it's even more limited. So I was thinking, how could I use this camera? I would say, well, I could use it as a B-roll camera. I place it like here. I've got only one camera recording right now, but I could have a second one here with my side or my hands or whatever. And then I mix when I edit. So if I'm not actually checking what the second camera is doing, because I cannot be behind it at the same time, probably I need a monitor to control. Or maybe as it is a small camera, it can be a great piece of gear to hide it somewhere. But then I cannot be behind the screen to check anything. So I would put a transmitter and have a screen here, a monitor to check what it's doing. So I'm going to connect the transmitter. And if I do that on a regular basis, when I connect to the HDMI, I need a full-size HDMI. Because small-size HDMI, they always end up breaking if you use them all the time. If my setup is fixed, I never remove the camera and keep everything connected all the time, that's no problem. But if I'm connecting, disconnecting, connecting, disconnecting, I will end up breaking the HDMI. So if you wanted to sell this camera not as a main camera, but also as a B-roll camera or a small camera to hide somewhere, you need to have a proper connector. And I'm sure the full HDMI connector would fit in there. Okay, so I don't understand what they are doing. If we speak about the battery gives you 470 pictures, which is the same as the Lumix S9 Mark II, which is little. Okay, that's not much, and this is the main complaint I have got about this camera, my S9 Mark II, is I've got several batteries, okay? And if we speak about video, we're speaking about 60 to 120 minutes, depending on the format you're using, but by experience, I think we're closer to 60 minutes than 120. So for me, these are the really negative points. Now we're going to go back to our content creator to see if it's for him or not. So how do you seduce these young YouTubers, TikTokers, Instagrammers, whatever, to go from their smartphone or action camera to this? Well, most people, when they want to seduce these people to go to a camera, the first thing they say is the sensor size. This is full frame. Quality is a lot better. You will get bokeh. Wow, and they just go mad. They feel that, whoa, I'm going to be drawn in bokeh. I'll just love it. So to seduce them, you tell that. And you said quality will be better, all this, all that. Real cinematic looks and really a lot better, all this. They're great. So I've placed on the camera a new lens. It's a great lens, 26mm, manual focusing, f8 to f8, no possibility to put filter or any cap. Oh yeah, but I wanted to put a mist filter to give it some diffusion. No, that's not possible. So you're telling me that I go from my smartphone where everything was in focus, and then I get this full frame camera where everything is going to be in focus with this new recommended lens. Are you serious? And then you got the 18 to 40mm that will come out soon, 4.5, 6.3. yeah, you will get a bit more out of focus part, okay, but not crazy, okay, speed better, but then the camera is not that small. And actually the 20 to 60 millimeter I use is already fine for that. So I don't understand what they are doing, honestly. How are you going to tell these content creators that actually love to be in any situation and record themselves at any time, fast, quick, easy, that they will have an extra step, yeah, transfer to your smartphone or a tablet, and also a drop in quality in this situation, that is recommended to go to 50 bit rate instead of 100 or 200. So you will get less quality. So I've paid for great quality, I lose it when I use it the way you say. So then you will have to tell the truth, Mr. Panasonic. You will have to tell your guys, your clients, well, actually, if you want to get the really good quality of this camera, same sensor, same image quality you get on the S5 Mark II, it's better you actually transfer your file to your computer and actually edit them there with the highest bit rate, the best quality, the best everything. You can have already baked a lot or add it then. So what's the point? You're telling me I spent like 1,600 euros, or yeah, almost 1,700 euros to have such a drop in quality if I use it the way you tell, or if I want the good quality, I have to complicate myself going to computer. So why should I forget about my smartphone? That's nonsense. That's nonsense. So honestly, I don't understand what Lumix has done here. I do believe some people will love it. 4 colors, that's nice. To have different colors, that's great, okay? But it's so limited that I think it's important that people know that this camera is not for the general content creators. It is for a niche market that actually will like how it works, will use the content, actually edit it properly, and all the quick and fast announce like create, publish, I don't need to edit. This is BS, okay? You will lose a lot of quality. It will be worse on your smartphone. Some people say, oh, how can you tell that? Well, honestly, I've got over 1,000 video on my YouTube channel. About 800 were recorded with a smartphone, iPhone, not the latest one, from 10s Pro or 10s Max, I can't remember the name, and my latest one is the 13 Pro Max. Many were recorded with this, and the rest was recorded before with other cameras and after with my Lumix S5 Mark II. Why do I start recording with my S5 Mark II? For 2 reasons. First, I bought it because I wanted to review some full-frame lenses. I didn't have any full-frame camera anymore, so I thought that's great because many brands, they create for L-mount, for Sony E-mount, for many brands, okay, well, different brands, okay. So I thought, well, that's a great idea, I get this. And then at the same time, I decided to start recording in 4K for my YouTube channel. And with the 13 Pro Max, here you have a lighting connectors, and with my video, it was really too heavy to transfer. If I was on Wi-Fi, it took ages, and sometimes it didn't work. And with cable, it also took ages. So I decided that as I had my Lumix S5 Mark II that I actually love, it was a lot more logical to record with the camera in 4K. I don't have to go through the transfer of file for hours from my iPhone, okay? So this is why I record with it. Otherwise, if I had the 15 Pro Max, in many situations I would keep recording with my iPhone, okay? Because now I have a USB-C connector, it's a lot faster to transfer via cable. So that's simple. I know some people will say, can you compare an iPhone with your S5 Mark II? This is crazy. Let's go back to the support that people are supposed to use and publish, where they're supposed to publish that kind of content. Social networks. No one will see the difference. Actually, very often I have some parts that are still recorded with iPhone, shortest part, and they're included with what I made with the Lumix. No one sees the difference. No one sees the difference, okay? It's more important the lighting than the rest, okay? So that's not a problem. Different is if you tell me to make a short movie or movie for cinema. Some people still make them with a smartphone, high-end smartphone, but I know that many people prefer to have a real camera or video camera or photo camera they use for video, whatever, okay? I can understand that. I'm not going to argue on this point. But for general social networks, you will not see the difference. Actually, it will be a lot better if you create directly on your smartphone at 100 or 200 bit rates than to create on this great camera sensor and then transfer at 50 bit rate and use it after. You'll get a better camera on your smartphone. So I don't understand what Lumix is doing. This is nonsense, really nonsense. Something I want to add about my experience recording with smartphone and with camera. When I record with a smartphone, if I've got the light against me, let's say brightness is in the back and I'm here, well, with my smartphone I get my face properly exposed and the sky that is blue, because it makes an HDR. I don't speak about the fuzzy, ugly colors, I speak about really high dynamic range. So I will be everything properly exposed. If I use a camera, I have to pick and decide. Do I want a blue sky? Then my face is underexposed. Or do I want my face properly exposed and I've got a completely white sky, completely burned, okay? So solution, if I want to record with the camera and I can expose for the sky and then put an LED light for my face and get everything properly exposed. So how do you explain to these people that you sell them a small camera? That is the big solution for them. That when they have the sun against them, then in this situation, they need to bring along an LED light that takes more space than a smartphone. Honestly, how do you explain that to them? That, no, yeah, it's normal, the sky is white now, it's not blue anymore. But expose for the sky, and now what you do and you put an LED light, you have to carry that with you. Are you serious? Do you realize what are these content creators? Then don't work this way. They don't work this way. I would like to make a parenthesis speaking about the marketing of Panasonic. When the Lumix S9 Mark II came out, they invited many YouTubers to Japan, and it was logical for me because most critics they were getting was because of the autofocus. So now they solved it with the face detection autofocus. It was logical to invite many people so they could see it. I see many Sony users before were Lumix users, and they abandoned the brand because they were not happy with the autofocus. So it was logical to seduce them, show them it was solved more or less, but it was solved compared to before. So it was logical to invite them. And honestly, the S9 Mark II is a great camera. So any YouTuber could tell what he thought because the camera is good. There was nothing to hide, nothing to lie about. That was fine. So no problem. But Lumix realized one thing. When you invite someone for dinner, to eat at home, or lunch, or whatever, it's really hard for that person to tell the food is no good. They will say he's not repeating because the day before it was not too good, so he felt his stomach was not too good, that's why he's not taking more food, okay. But it's hard for him to say, this food is no good. And Lumix, Panasonic, is aware of that. So this time they get the S9 that has many flaws. And they realize that many YouTubers will not tell the flaws, the problems, the limits, the limitations, everything. They will not tell. So yesterday when I saw that the camera was out, I decided to check YouTubers, what they were telling about the camera. And first I was surprised that some really big channel that not that many visits, because they invited so many people that the amount of visit was split or shared among so many channels that each one got that many visits. But first I decided to visit two because I think they are the most serious channel, among the most serious. There are more, but I think they're really serious. The two guys of Petapixel that were before at DP Review with Chris Nichols and Jordan Drake. And another one I really like is KW. And KW is more fighty compared to the other two, and more educated, I would say. But both they did tell about the limits of this camera that was not perfect. Actually, Jordan Drake, in his conclusion about the video side, was telling that maybe to pay a bit more for the S5 Mark II to get more, or also for lower budget, you have the Fujifilm X-S20. He told it. Didn't say it was a bad camera, but well, the limitation encouraged you to maybe look at something else. In case of KW, he told about some limitation, and one moment is fine because he says it's the IBIS and the stabilization is great. I'm happy they put it here because otherwise, well, like almost he said, forget about the camera otherwise. Okay, don't say it this way, but almost there. Okay, so these guys were more or less honest. Okay, I think, yeah, honest, but still educated towards Lumix, who invited them to Japan. So out of 200 people who were there, or 100, I don't know how many, I see that some were honest, not that many, and Lumix knows that. Maybe 10 will tell the truth. Then maybe 50 will more or less educated, give some hints that it's not perfect, it's not the ideal camera, okay. Well. But then there's a massive amount of YouTubers who will say, oh, that's a great camera, that's the latest thing, that's great, better, it was, yeah, before was another world, now it's a new era, great thing. Come on, stop that. You would not use this camera to record the video you're doing right now because time is no good. If you have to transfer to your smartphone, you drop in quality. Stop that. You're not telling the truth. So Lumix is aware that so many people will speak good anyway, whatever the camera is or whatever the flaws are, just because they were invited to Japan. And that's the way they play right now. And that's a problem because I think although you're invited, although they would give away the camera, you have to tell the truth because who is supporting your channel are not the brands. Who support your channel is your public, your audience. So you owe them honesty, clarity, and tell the truth. And if Lumix doesn't want to invite you again, that's it, no problem. There are other brands, other things to talk about. If you don't talk about gear, you can talk about techniques, whatever. But you owe that to your audience. So I don't know why YouTubers are doing that. I know that maybe you're going to say, yeah, but Eric, Fujifilm also invited many people to Japan for the X100 Mark VI. First, they don't do that for every camera, but yes, they did. But please, don't compare both cameras. It's true that it sounded like a lot of hype, many people speaking, some people think it's too expensive, some people don't like the camera, some people think it's really bad that it's not available, doesn't matter. But it's a good camera. Maybe too expensive for some people, but still, it's a good camera. In this case, this is a camera they sell or they present as the wow, a revolution, and it's not a revolution. Okay, so the situation is really different. Honestly, I'm really happy that Lumix did not invite me to Japan. I would be really happy about the trip. Really great to go there and see Japan or Tokyo, or wherever they were. Okay, I would have loved that, honestly. But my obligation would have been to tell the truth. Maybe not as harsh, but still I would have told what I found, okay? And I don't need to be angry at Lumix. Anyway, if they look at me now, they will be angry at me, maybe, but I'm a Lumix client anyway. And I don't want to be part of this circus. If you invite me for a great product, that's fine. If you invite me for a bad product, accept that I will tell my opinion, honest opinion about the product, okay? I see too many people that are not doing this. And I think this is a big problem to do this marketing because they know that some YouTubers are real mercenary, salesperson. They just say what they think that will be liked by the brand and that will create sales, okay? So that is a big problem. First, for many YouTubers that are honest, that tell the truth, that tell what they think, and we are all put into the same basket and everyone thinks we are all liars, and that's not fair. Second, because the clients, potential clients, needs to know the truth. Maybe this camera is for him and that's great, and maybe it's not. You cannot sell a camera and then the guy tries it and says, yeah, but I cannot, it's raining, I cannot use it, or yeah, but the quality when I pass on my smartphone is not the same. That's a problem, and that's a real problem because sooner or later everyone loses credibility. Lumix loses credibility, YouTubers lose credibility. So You have to stop this kind of marketing, flooding the old YouTube with invited people when the product is not good. No, send them cameras so they test them and leave them alone, and you just clean the camera. That's it. You didn't invite them for a great trip or whatever. If next camera you invite me, I will tell the truth anyway. If it's a great camera, I will tell it. If it's a bad camera, I will tell it. Okay, so we need more honesty, because this is damaging the image of YouTubers and damaging the client's money. That's it. And that's pity, because for some people this camera is good, but you need to tell them the limits. So my conclusion, well, honestly, I think this camera is disappointing. I would not recommend it to most people. Some people that correspond to this market, yes, okay, but no way this is for all YouTube and content creators. No way. This camera has too many limitations. I think the idea was great to have a smaller camera, create a mini S5 Mark II, but they fell really short of it. The idea is not theirs, because when you look at the Alpha 7 C Mark II by Sony, yeah, that's a mini Alpha 7 IV, okay, but really I think they fell short on everything, so I could not recommend it to most people. Only some people that you analyze your needs, you see what you could do, all this, and maybe you correspond to this market, and maybe that camera is for you. But I think this camera has too many flaws to be okay. Honestly, I think it's better to buy a bit more money, have an S5 Mark II, or less money and get a Fuji XS20, for example, and there are many other options. I think this camera fell completely short of expectation, and what they offer is not good enough for the price and for the pretension they have. So for me, no, I would not buy it myself. And the image quality will be there if you don't use it the way they say, with a drop in quality for your smartphone. But honestly, yeah, I think this is a mess, honestly. If they wanted to make a small camera, I don't know why they don't make again GX line that are really small cameras. You can change lenses. I know it's micro four thirds, but still the quality is great. And for having a really small vlogging or all the time camera, that would be perfect. So I don't know why Lumix is not getting new cameras on this line, GX line, that is fantastic. And yeah, I don't understand it, honestly. So I hope I did not offend anyone. If I did, I apologize for it, but this is my opinion. You can have a completely different opinion. It's completely respectable, and that's it. So thank you so much for watching the video. If you feel it may interest other people, please share it on social networks. If you have not done it yet, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, the small button down here, and also small bell. If you click on the bell, you will get notified when I upload a new video. My website, ericgibaud.com. If you have any question, please leave a comment below. Also leave you links of my gear on Amazon, links of everything I reviewed by K&F Concept, Sandmarc, and Flashes by Westcott, more affiliated links, and also a link to my PayPal account in case you wanted to make a donation. Thank you very much. Please take care of yourself and see you soon. Bye.